Look around any morning commute and you'll see a shared exhaustion. We go through the motions, clock in, clock out, and spend our free time zoning out. There is a deep collective lethargy that makes the idea of rigorous personal growth feel completely exhausting. Slavic Vedic texts attribute this modern stagnation to a calculated decision made thousands of years ago. Our current spiritual fatigue is the direct fallout of a struggle before our history began. To understand our resistance to evolution, we have to look at the physical blueprints of the universe and how its design naturally depletes our will. Vedic cosmology describes the Almighty generating cosmic rays that carry massive, self-contained spheres. These are world eggs, and one of these spheres contains our entire universe. This diagram illustrates the internal structure of our specific world egg. Inside the outer shell, a central four-sided obelisk rises until it intersects with a distinct pyramidal shape at the top. This intersection creates a horizontal plane called Svarga, which divides into 4 equal quadrants. This foundational grid functions as the physical and energetic regulator for everything within our material universe. Time flows through these quadrants in a spiraling cycle of 4 ages, or Doli. As we move through this grid, the spiritual signal from the source weakens, causing a natural decline in consciousness that eventually bottoms out in the Iron Age. Because this geometry dictates a steady drain of energy, ancient leaders were forced to make a pragmatic choice. How do you manage a population that is physically and spiritually degrading by the very laws of the universe? The response to this cosmic decline split the ancient world into 2 distinct ideological camps, evidenced by the spiritual guides each side chose to follow. One faction followed Brihaspati. He prioritized technical rituals and outward displays of power, often praising leaders for their status while ignoring their internal moral failures. The opposing faction chose Shukra Rahman. He demanded rigorous internal development and famously highlighted the flaws of powerful leaders to ensure they remained focused on spiritual growth rather than external validation. These 2 teachers provided competing blueprints for surviving the cosmic decline. Brihaspati offered a path of external compliance, while Shukra Rahman insisted on a difficult, internal evolution. This philosophical tension eventually triggered a physical conflict between 2 figures, Veles and Stribog. Veles ended their first encounter through deception, tricking Stribog into testing a regenerative sarcophagus and then sealing him inside. Slavic tradition records that Stribog eventually returned through reincarnation to finish the struggle. Stribog's subsequent war against Veles functioned as a cold, rational mechanism to restore systemic justice. He sought to re-establish the ideological balance that Veles had disrupted. Veles's faction believed that because time naturally degrades consciousness, the most efficient way to maintain order was to allow the population to devolve into ignorance. They chose a path of managed, comfortable stagnation. Stribog's faction argued that leaders must endure the pain of self-evolution to lift the masses. They maintained that the only way to counteract the universe's natural drain was through relentless, difficult effort. This ancient war prioritized the long-term survival of human consciousness over territorial gain. It was a struggle to decide whether humanity should be allowed to decay or be forced to work toward a higher state of being. The wars eventually subsided, and the timeline continued its descent into the spiritually depleted Iron Age. Curious, our current position on this timeline is unique. We are living through a rare 10,000-year golden inclusion, a brief spike in potential that offers us a temporary escape from the natural lethargy of our age. The Slavic texts identify a crisis far more severe than the natural decline of time or the ancient wars. Humanity observed the 2 paths, relentless evolution and managed stagnation, and chose to stop growing. We have opted for the comfort of the Iron Age, despite having the keys to move past it. The physical structure of our universe naturally saps our will, but the ancient struggle for justice proves that this decline is not inevitable. Our history is not an anchor, our apathy is. We are simply refusing to do the work.